Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Indian Bull vs Bear. This is the seventh video of the series, The Final Missing Piece. In today's video, I'll analyze the realty sector. This video is structured in three sections. First, I'll give a brief introduction of the sector. Then I'll share 5 graphs with you and explain them in order to identify some trend. Then I'll share my takeaways from each of those graphs. Please read the entire disclaimer carefully and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The real estate or the realty sector in India plays a crucial role in economic growth, contributing around 7% to India's GDP and is expected to reach $1 trillion by 2030. This sector includes residential, commercial, retail, hospitality, and industrial real estate, driven by urbanization, rising incomes, infrastructure development, and government policies. Urbanization and rising middle class incomes are boosting home ownership and luxury housing. Government too supports this sector with schemes like PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Smart Cities Mission, RERA, and REITs. Though there are few challenges as well that the sector is facing, which includes high interest rates and loan dependency, regulatory and compliance issues, and slow demand in affordable housing segment. In order to see the historical trend, I'll present 5 graphs in front of you. First one will be the yearly returns graph, which will show the yearly returns over last 10 years of top 10 companies of this sector. The top 10 companies of this sector comprises of 7 large cap and 3 mid cap companies. Second graph will be the yearly swing graph, in which I'll show you the number of positive and negative returns months. Third graph will be the monthly returns over last 10 years graph, in which I'll show you the percentage return across every month in the last 10 years. The fourth graph will be the mean monthly returns. In this graph, I have taken the average or mean of the last 10-year returns in each month. And the fifth graph is the monthly swing graph, in which we'll see the number of positive and negative returns. I'll also share my takeaways after explaining each graph to you. Please do not skip any portion of this video and watch it till the end. You are going to learn a lot, which will help you to take decisions on your own. This is the first graph, yearly returns graph. The blue line in this graph shows the yearly return in percentage, whereas the orange line shows the cumulative yearly returns in percentage. So 2015 was not a good year for the sector, and the sector returned minus 3.73%. 2016 too was not too good for this sector. Only 6 odd percent yearly returns. But 2017 was a very good year for the sector with 98.64% yearly returns. But 2018 again proved to be a bad year for the sector with negative 28.41% returns. 2019 the returns went from negative to positive with the OK return of 18.20%. 2022 the sector gave return of 15.56%, again at least positive. In 2021 this sector gave massive returns of 121.06%, absolutely astounding returns. In 2022 though the returns were mere 5.07%. 2023 again proved to be a very good year for the sector with the yearly returns of 89.11%. And 2024 too was a very good year for the sector with 73.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% 0.42% And as you can see, the cumulative returns graph is also moving exponentially up in the last couple of years. So what is the takeaway from this graph? The takeaway from this graph is that the cumulative returns over the last 10 years of this sector is 1379.68%. That means more than 14x. So this year, this sector has multiplied the returns by 14 times if somebody has invested in 2015 and remain invested by the end of 2024. Let's move on to the next graph, which is the yearly swing graph. In this graph, the green bars represent the number of months with positive returns, whereas the red bar shows the number of months with negative returns. So in 2015, 5 months gave positive returns. In 2016, 6 gave positive return. But 2017 was a very good year for the sector with 10 out of 12 months gave positive return. 2018 was not so good with only 4 positive returns. 2019 is average with 6 positive, 6 negative returns. 2020 was okay with 7 positive returns. 2021 was very good with 9 out of 12 months giving positive returns. 2022 was not so good with only 5 months gave positive returns in the sector. 2023 seems to be a good year for the sector, in which the sector gave positive returns across 8 months over the cycle of 12 months. Similarly, in 2024, in 9 months, this sector gave positive returns. So what is the takeaway from this graph? So the takeaway from this graph is that the last 10 years CAGR of the top 10 companies of this sector is 30.92. So this is a massive CAGR as compared to other sectors. Let's move on to the third graph, which is the monthly returns over last 10 years. So this graph comprises of 12 smaller graphs, a graph each for a month. So if you see on top left, January, February, March, April, and so on. Similarly, this green bar here shows the positive returns in a year, and the red bar shows the negative returns of the year. So January gave positive returns 5 years out of last 10 years. So it's average year for the sector. But in February, only 3 times February gave positive returns in 2017, 2021, and 2024. 7 years it gave negative returns. So I would say February is not a good month historically for the C sector. In March, 4 positive and 6 negative. April, 6 positive and 4 negative. May is a better month for the sector with 7 years it gave positive returns as compared to 3 negative. June, 6 positive, 4 negative. July, 7 positive and 3 negative. August, only 4 times it gave positive returns. In rest 6 it gave negative returns. September, 5 times it gave positive returns, 5 times it gave negative returns. October, 6 positive and 4 negative. But see November over here, 8 positive, only 2 negative, and those 2 years were 2015, 2016. So in last 8 years continuously, November has given the positive returns. December also a similar story, only 2 negative and 8 positive returns out of last 10 years. So what is the takeaway? The takeaway is there are actually 3 net negative yearly returns in the last 10 years by this sector. So this sector by no stretch of imagination is a safe bet. You could get very high returns, but you could actually be in a loss as well in this sector. As we can see that there were three instances in last 10 years when the net return of this sector, the net yearly return of the sector was negative. So this is the one point which we need to keep in mind. Let's move on to the next graph, which is the mean monthly returns graph. So the first look itself is quite clear in this graph that there are 2 months, February and March. In February and March, over the last 10 years, this sector has given negative returns, the average of the last 10 years returns. Rest 10 months, it's okay. So rest 10 months, it is given good returns like in April 5.41%, in June 4.64%, in July 5%, January 3.84%, November and December are good with 4.4, 4.33 and 4.92%. So what is the takeaway from this graph? It is that the February and March are the cheapest months for this sector. This sector underperforms in historically in these 2 months. Let's move on to the final graph, which is the monthly swing graph. We can see in January, over the last 10 years, 5 times January gave positive returns, 5 times it gave negative returns. So January is an average month for this sector. February only 3 times positive and 7 times negative. So one thing is quite clear that February is not a good month for this sector. March 4 positive, April 6 positive. May is quite good with 7 positive. June is good with again with 6 positive. July 2 is very good with 7 positive returns in the last 10 years. But August doesn't seems to be a good month for the sector with only 4 positive in last 10 years. September 5 each. October 6 positive. But see, November and December, the last 2 months of the year, over the last 10 years, both of these months have given positive returns 8 times out of last 10 years. So these 2 months seems to be good months for this sector. So let's see the takeaway from this. The takeaway is that July, November, and December are the costliest months of this sector where this sector shines. So the graphs are in front of you now. You can drive the trend yourself, pick up a trend. It would be very helpful for you in future. That is all for this video. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe it, like it, and share it with your family and friends. And comment about how do you like the content. I'll be back soon with another video. Goodbye for now.